All right, students. So today we're going to talk about Chernozem soils. All right. Now, Chernozem soils, the word Chernozem refers to black earth. And as you can see in the image here on the screen, right, this particular diagram or picture is in fact showing how dark the actual soils are. Now, students, soils which are typically dark in color, right, naturally that is often associated with a significant amount of nutrient or nutrients rather, and topsoil. All right. Chernozem soils are very mature soils. All right. They are in fact found in temperate regions of the world, primarily three specific areas. They can in fact be found in Canada or the Canadian prairies. Right. These gently undulating land which support well agricultural areas as well as natural grasslands, temperate grasslands per se. All right. They can also be found in the Russian steppes. All right. As you can see, these are grasslands as well. All right. These are not tropical grasslands. These are temperate grasslands, as I indicated earlier. All right. The Russian parts of the world, Russian steppes, very extensive areas. As you can see, prairie lands are very, very extensive areas. All right. As well as in Ukraine. Now, students, Ukraine is actually known to have some of the richest soils in the world, all right? And specifically, they possess Chernozems as well. All right, look at this beautiful landscape, as a matter of fact. And you can also see some grasslands as well, grasses as well, on these particular landscapes as such. All right, these are temperate grasses, temperate grasslands. Now, in terms of highlighting the richness and the depth and the thickness of the organic layer, all right, this is in fact an image showing different types of soils found in different areas, of course. All right, from tundra all the way down to podzels. We have gray forest soils, Chernozems. This is our prize here we're looking at, and also chestnut soils and these solonet soils. All right. Now, students, with respect to Chernozem soils, look at the depth of the organic layer. All right, look at the darkness of this. So class, we can automatically know that Chernozem soils are in fact some of the richest soils in the world, right? With respect to the fact that it is also a very mature type of soil, it's also a very deep soil structure, all right, which can be found in temperate areas in the aforementioned areas that we mentioned previously, all right? For students, we automatically see this is basically a cross section, all right, of a particular soil profile here. This is in fact the grasses at the surface, all right, some can be relatively green. Now, students, grasses do not require much nutrients to grow, hence the organic matter that they produce from their dried leaves and whatnot. They are in fact rapidly decomposed. However, they are decomposed primarily within the two warmer periods, which is in fact the spring and the summer. Summer in particular. All right, and that warm condition in the summer environment will rapidly activate the soil organisms to readily break down the leaf litter into a very thick humus layer. All right, look how dark this surface layer is. All right, very thick humus layer. So Chernozems have very thick humus layers. In addition to this, the reason for that, one of the reasons for that, as a matter of fact, is because grasses do not require much nutrients to grow. So the nutrient intake would not be as abundant as we expect them to be. All right. Um, yes, we have these soils are well mixed. While we have soil organisms primarily in the depths of these soils, they will mix these soils and churn it properly. But you can see there's a big contrast from the upper layer than the subsurface layer. All right. Now, the upper layer is very thick with dark, rich nutrient content. Humus layer is very thick, but the subsurface layer, just below that layer, you can actually see a big striation, a big transition. All right. This area here, all right, with lighter brown coloration is associated with slight, leaching and whatnot. Yes, leaching is the downward movement of minerals and components by moisture. However, it is not as profound as it is as we expect it to be for example, like those in latter soils, there's a lot of leaching taking place, but this is in fact slight leaching taking place. It is not as profound as they expect it to be. All right, primarily because temperate areas are not as like tropical. They are not tropical, as a matter of fact. They receive a lot less moisture receipt. All right, on top of that too, the moisture receipt is very much seasonal. There is no liquid moisture in winter. In autumn, the place is very cold or cool, transitioning towards winter, so there is no liquid moisture per se. The only liquid moisture you will primarily have, and the most amount of leaching you will expect to have, will primarily be in the month of the ending of spring all the way down till the month of summer, in the summer months, that is. Sorry. All right. Okay, so we can have minor leaching taking place, in this particular region, where components can be washed further down. All right. All right, this view of the profile simply highlights the main components here, right? So we already understand the organic layer and the leaves and whatnot. We already understand that the leaf litter will be broken down very quickly to create this very thick mat of humus and dark coloration of the surface of the soil primarily. And we also have the leaching of the components, perhaps also redepositing of minerals in the subsurface section here as well. All right, a lighter coloration per se. Students, we must understand also the parent material is a very influential factor for Chernozems. Primarily, Chernozems, the parent rock or bedrock is often limestone or calcium carbonate rich components. And this solid rock is weathered chemically as well as by soil organisms, right, biologically as well. All right, and what it does, they will break down to create relatively neutral to alkaline pH of this particular soil. The pH is neutral to alkaline because of the calcium carbonate primarily found at the bedrock area. However, the soil microbes, soil macroorganisms as well as microorganisms, really macroorganisms per se, right? Bugs, earthworms, and whatnot, they will tend to mix these soils properly. Hence, the pH of this particular type of soil is said to be neutral to alkaline. All right, so we can automatically see that parent material is very influential. Drainage is influential because moisture is allowed to go down. All right, not extremely as latter soils, but it is influential with respect to the leaching factor. Soil organisms, right, are very influential as well with respect to creating that dark, rich humus organic content, which is the decomposition of organic materials. Even the vegetation, because the grasslands don't require much, the grasses on these particular grasslands, they don't require much nutrients to grow. So the vegetation is also a factor. The climate, which is seasonal, you actually have two main periods which can simply facilitate rapid decomposition rate. So climate is also a major component, a major factor in terms of soil development. All right. No, I hope you can actually see this diagram. Don't mind my little Crappyfoot handwriting as well as the Mickey Mouse diagram as well. But you can actually see from above, right, from this little drawn diagram here, let's look at the main content of it. We have grasslands, and temperate vegetative structure associated. Remember the grassland area, the grasses in these particular grasslands, they are in fact not as tall as tropical. However, they simply grow approximately 3 feet, 3.5, maybe 4 to 5 feet. Do you understand? In some instances, maybe even close to 6. Anyway, that's not really a factor per se, a major contributor, but the fact of the matter is that they simply produce a lot of leaf litter, which is rapidly decomposed. You have a thick organic layer, as well as a dark brown, right, humus layer because of the decomposition of the organic material. We have leaching taking place, but it's not as pronounced as latter soils. The subsurface layer or the subsoil layers are lighter brown because of the leaching, a little bit of leaching taking place as well. You also have weathered materials of calcium carbonate components, primarily because of the bedrock being calcium carbonates, rock structures like limestone constituents and stuff like that. All right, but class, these soils are in fact relatively deep. The thickness of this dark humus content alone is in excess of 2 meters. Class, that's the topsoil layer. It is actually in excess of 2 meters. Now, 2 meters is approximately 6 feet. All right. So that's a relatively thick soil layer. On top of that, too, class, they are very mature. They say right here very quickly. They are very mature soils. They are very deep. They are nutrient rich. They are actually well mixed soils. All right. They have a neutral to alkaline pH. All right. So I hope this was actually beneficial to you all. If there are in fact any questions, feel free to let me know. All right. Have a good one.